What isn't bad for you is the company that you keep, right? And so those that are in your sphere are critical mass for you, and you have like a core group of buddies that you've been close with and tight with for 40 years, right?
Actually, have a group of
Almost half your life.
four other guys. So there's
Yeah.
5 of us.
Yeah.
And we will communicate to each other at least on a daily basis.
Okay. Is that in a group setting?
It's
Or is that
just in
individual?
a group text.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we're back and forth, and it's and the I've known the one the least for 55 years, and the one I've known the most I've known for 62 years.
Okay.
In fact, he was on a date with my wife when I met my wife. We were college roommates.
Okay.
Think about that.
At Texas.
At Texas.
Okay.
And so he was a punter for Texas.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's just, and I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. I mean, we're just lifelong buddies.
Yeah.
He was, 1 and I was 2 when we met. I mean,
So he was following up Erslager, huh? He came in behind
He
Erslager or
came
before him?
behind,
Is that
yeah,
right? Or
yeah,
before him or after?
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
It's kinda hard.
But he wasn't a Ponzi guy.
Okay.
No, he was not a Ponzi guy.
He's a Ponzi guy in
Poor Russell.
relationships.
Yeah, he's a relationship guy. Yeah. So now he ended up selling his company for $38 million, and the two of us are having this conversation.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder if Kristen, my wife, was like,
Well,
maybe I
you've
should
got a
have
great
gone.
personality.
That's
you
a good
know?
point.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good point.
You can't put a price tag on that.
You cannot put
and
a price
you
tag.
shouldn't in your case,
Yeah.
because then you wouldn't be the guy that sold the $38 million company. right?
That's correct. That's correct. No.
Well,
Yeah.
and I want to touch on that also, Bob, because if you look at this core group,
Right.
these are your boys, and you haven't deviated from that, right? We may have 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 other people, and we'll go to dinner and we'll go to a game or
Sure.
something, right? And when we visit, when we catch up, it's like like we're best buds because you treat people like that,
Mhm.
right? But if we really drill down for this core group, what is it that you feel like that keeps you together and really from the standpoint of sounds like he's made it financially. I'm sure the others have done really well financially, but it's not just about the financial aspect of it. For you, it sounds like it's really about the human aspect of it.
It's the camaraderie and human aspect, and we have different views on things, which is good. It's kind of a diverse group. They've all been business guys. One guy was Enron, kind of got burned by Enron, and he's kind of taken a little different route.
Mm-hmm.
But the other 3 have been very successful in their own, and they own their own businesses. All the other 3 own their own companies.
Okay.
And so there's if I need to, they can bounce information or ideas off of me. I can do the same with them. And there's no pretense. There's nobody saying, "Oh, what can I get out of this?" There's none of that. There's no ulterior motive. We're just buddies that we have been for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have that great, group of people is completely awesome.
So there's the common theme in this crew that it's almost kind of like, military. You've got each other's backs.
Right.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Right.
No matter what.
So when you stole his girlfriend in college, he was able to overcome that.
Well, let's talk about that because there's a rule that we had. We were college roommates.
Yeah.
There was a rule that you could not overlap until you relinquished your rights.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is a very, very good rule.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And so he said, I said, "You're going to relinquish your rights." He said, "Yes. I'm not getting anywhere." Whatever that means.
I
have no
kinda
idea what that
Are
means.
you getting anywhere?
Well,
did you get anywhere? I mean, it seems like you did.
A couple of days ago.
Okay.
but he did say, yes. And I said, "Make no mistake, I'm calling her today. So
Right.
I want to make sure you're okay."
Very clear.
So he relinquished his rights. I called her today. I knew from day one that's who I wanted to marry. She realized that I was the one, I think maybe 3.5 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's taken
Right.
a while.
It was right after the sale of that company. Right. She goes, well, so
the
much
sale
for
of the
that.
second company. Yeah. The first company was kind of still, but
only $10 million.
every day I go home and I put the key in the lock and I turn it and I'm like, oh yes,
Is that right?
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And my stuff's not on the lawn.
Yep.
Most of the days.
Yep.
And so that's kind of that's a net positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that trust, right? It's knowing that those guys that you have each other's backs in life, not only with your women, right, but
Right.
also you brought up a really good point that 3 of them are still self-employed,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so that entrepreneur spirit that you have, even though you work for a W-2 employer, you're still an entrepreneur.
No question.
You're your own business.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're branding Stuart Title, but you're branding Bob Roberts every day, right? And you're bringing it every day. And these guys also have to bring it every day.
Right.
So when they have their wins, you guys hear about it. When they have their challenges, you guys hear about it. And do y'all lean on each other? Like, what happens when someone's hit a wall, right?
Oh, constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we constantly lean on each other.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so, my wife's dad is on his deathbed,
Okay.
and it's imminent. I mean,
Okay.
it could be right. I mean, by the time I was in here, it could have happened. I mean,
And thank you for coming today. 'Cause
oh
I
yeah.
knew that
Well,
that was,
I mean, it is what it is, and he's
Yeah.
in good shape, and,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's in good shape on where he's going as far as I'm
he's
concerned.
ready. I mean,
He's ready.
He
and
knows.
he's ready to go.
Okay.
He's ready to go. So, I just put a little all points bulletin, last night. Hey, this is what's happening, FYI, and and just the comments that I got back from them, it's just really reassuring,
Yeah.
and it's instant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's within 5 minutes, all four of them have responded.
Well, and that says a lot too, because and I know that when we text you, everybody's in the world with the phone in their hand
Oh, yeah.
with text. And me, when you and I text each other, unless it's a situation like this,
Sure.
you're getting an immediate response. And
Absolutely.
there are guys and gals that you're like, hey, I know you read this. I know that you got this. I know that I'm needing a response at some point. But when you have it, it's almost as if you treat those relationships as if your life depends on it. And in a core group like that, sometimes it may. Your
Mhm.
financial life, your
Mhm.
spiritual life,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you need each other. And those relationships, I think the foundation of that for you've had those for many years. Not everybody has that luxury, Bob,
Mhm.
right? So that's a blessing just in
Right.
and of itself.